This is a strange story about a school that was shut down because of a mysterious giggle virus. The story goes like this. It was an ordinary day at Herbert Hoover Elementary School in Colorado. The students were having their lunch break. Some were playing, others were eating, but everyone seemed happy. But soon something weird began to happen. A student was sitting at his table when he started to laugh uncontrollably. No one thought much of it until more and more students started laughing, too. Soon, almost everyone in the school was laughing and couldn't stop. The school cared about the well-being of their students, so they decided to send them all home. The next day, when the students came back to school, the laughing had stopped. But then it started again. More and more kids got the uncontrollable urge to laugh. It spread throughout the school, and no one knew why. Finally, the school couldn't take care of the situation anymore and contacted the authorities for help. Officials came to investigate and were surprised by what they saw. They had never seen anything like this before. Was this some kind of a prank? Had someone put something into the school's food or water supply? What was going on? Well, the answer shocked them. The students weren't just laughing because of a prank or something similar. They had been infected with a virus that made them laugh uncontrollably. This virus would later be called the Giggle Virus. And even though it sounds funny, it was actually very serious. Kids would get the virus and not be able to stop laughing for days. The laughter would weaken them and sometimes even cause fainting spells. Once they got the virus, there was no way to get rid of it. The only thing that would stop the laughter was sleep. But once the infected person woke up, the laughing would start all over again. And if someone else heard them laughing, they would also get infected and the cycle would continue. This is exactly how it happened at Herbert Hoover Elementary School. But where did the virus come from? How did it start? Strangely enough, no one knows. This case of the giggling virus is still considered one of the biggest mysteries in medical history. What we do know is that the virus didn't kill anyone, but it sure was a pain to deal with. Authorities wanted to find out what was going on and how to stop it. So they gathered all the information they could and tried to solve the case of the giggling virus. When the school contacted the local health department, they sent an epidemiologist to the school. An epidemiologist studies diseases and how they spread through populations. At first, the epidemiologist was confused. Why would a disease make people laugh? Usually, a virus or bacteria makes people feel sick and not happy. However, the kids at the school didn't seem to mind laughing all the time. Maybe it was even fun for them, right? But after a while, they became weaker and weaker. And when they fainted from exhaustion, the health department knew they needed to do something. They brought in a team of scientists who studied the students and tried to figure out what was wrong. Even though no one knew what the virus was, the scientists noticed something interesting. Every student who got sick started laughing exactly 3 days after being exposed to the virus. This was important information. With this knowledge, they might be able to develop a way to fight the virus. But they needed more time and more data. So the school stayed closed until everything was solved. While this was happening, parents were getting worried. They were constantly calling the school to ask what was happening to their kids. But the adults in charge didn't know any more than the parents. All they could do was wait for the scientists to develop a plan. While the kids were at home, the virus continued to spread. Parents were afraid that their kids would get the virus and become seriously ill. But strangely enough, it seemed like the opposite was true. The longer the kids were exposed to the virus, the less effect it had on them. The symptoms became weaker and weaker. The scientists took advantage of this and started experimenting with the virus. They kept track of every symptom and created a chart to see how the virus progressed. After looking at all the information, they realized that the virus wasn't dangerous. The only thing it did was make its victims laugh uncontrollably. But they still didn't know why. After studying the virus, they also found out that it could be transmitted in different ways. The virus could survive on objects for a few hours, so students could pick it up from their desks or chairs. But it could also be transmitted through the air. If someone sneezed or coughed, the virus could spread through the air and infect others. This is probably how it spread through the school so quickly. With all this information, the scientists felt more confident. They developed a plan to stop the outbreak, and it worked perfectly. At first, the school was hesitant to trust the scientists. They thought maybe the virus wasn't so bad after all. Sure, the kids laughed a lot, but they didn't seem to be in danger. But then the scientists assured them that everything was under control. They agreed to end the outbreak. First, the school had to be cleaned. They hired an exterminator to clean the classrooms and other areas where the kids spent a lot of time. Then the teachers were given special spray bottles that contained a solution that killed the virus. This way, the virus couldn't spread through the air or through objects. Next, the scientists worked with the school to create a new set of rules. These rules were designed to prevent the virus from spreading. For example, students had to wash their hands often. They also had to cover their mouths when they coughed or sneezed. These rules may sound simple, but they were very effective. And finally, the scientists gave the students medicine that weakened the virus. This medicine was given to every student, even those who didn't have any symptoms. After following these steps, the school was able to get rid of the virus. It didn't reappear again, which was great news for everyone. After the incident, life at the school went back to normal. But this didn't mean that everyone forgot about the mysterious Giggle virus. In fact, the story of the giggling virus became very famous. People from all around the world heard about it and were amazed by it. Scientists still don't know where the virus came from and how it made students laugh uncontrollably. Some say it was just a prank, but there's no way someone could make a virus that causes uncontrollable laughter. Others say it was an alien virus that came from outer space, but there's no proof of this either. Maybe we will never know what caused the outbreak of the giggling virus. But one thing is certain, it was an experience that no one at the school will ever forget. Can you imagine going to school and not being able to stop laughing? Well, that's what happened to the students at Herbert Hoover Elementary School. What do you think caused the outbreak of the Giggle virus? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think it's interesting that a virus could make people laugh instead of being sad or angry. But at the same time, I'm glad that the virus wasn't dangerous and that everyone was okay in the end. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you have a wonderful day. Goodbye.